Okay, well, welcome to tonight's show. You're with Tom, Brian and Steve on NRL from the Sidelines. And Tom, our friend, is back from overseas. Welcome
yes,
back,
I'm back.
Tom.
Yep.
He's
lucky charm.
Happy. Yeah, lucky charm. And this is actually going to be our final show for the year, as this is our grand final edition.
Yes.
Grand final episode. Grand
finale.
Grand finale. And we have to talk, at least for a couple of minutes, Brian, on the grand final.
A couple of minutes.
The
only reason we're having this show is because it's a wash-up of the grand final.
No. There's lots happening. There's retiring players and
there's
honestly. I feed you that idea.
Either way, there's more happening than just the grand final.
You know what? I actually think we should probably get the grand final out of the way because there's so much more to talk about.
Doesn't the season all hinge on coming down to the grand final? Isn't that the purpose of the whole season? Oh, come on.
Well,
yes or no, Stephen? Simple. It's a simple answer.
Was South playing in the grand final? Were Manly playing in the grand final?
The simple answer is this season about getting to the grand final.
Not this year. Every other year, yes, but not this year. Let's talk about Melbourne.
Oh, goodness.
Playing the Sydney Roosters.
How it was.
I thought I did.
No, you didn't. But
I said, welcome back. How are you?
Okay, good.
How are you, Tom?
Let's move on.
No, Tom, how
Too
are
late.
you?
Tom, how are you?
Here come the Roosters.
Okay, let's go do that.
You've ever seen the red, white, and blue-sters, the eastern suburbs team. Yeah.
The what?
Eastern suburbs.
Eastern suburbs team.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Now I've got a comment on that.
Okay.
Steve and I were talking.
Yes, go on.
And see, we know that the Roosters have this magical, mythical salary cap.
The sombrero.
So, well, it's more than that, you see. But we figured
delusions. This is his delusion.
Excuse me, we figured it out last night. See, they're the Sydney Roosters, but they're also East, as they like to call themselves.
That's right.
Not just East. So they've actually got two salary caps.
You're making yourself look silly.
No.
What, any sillier than you just singing that song? Seriously.
The red, white and goosters.
Yeah, so we work out that they've got two salary caps that they're putting into one team, so that's why it's fair for them and not for everybody else.
I mean, if they're under the salary cap on each case, then it doesn't really matter, does it?
Let's talk about the Sydney Roosters winning the grand final.
We all went to the game.
We all went to the game.
Now,
it was a good game.
The teams aside, it was a sensational atmosphere, wasn't it? I mean, 82,000 people.
Yeah. Well, look, it's grand final. It's always going to be a great atmosphere.
And it's great being at a grand final.
It's always great being at a grand final.
It was fantastic.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So, and the game?
Well, I got to say, the Roosters played extremely well. Melbourne Storm were extremely disappointing. But you know what? The Roosters did to Melbourne last night what they did to South the week before. They just smothered them. They couldn't...
Suffocated is the word I use. The Melbourne Storm got suffocated by the Roosters' defence, which has been a trademark all year. And it was an exceptional performance. The first half is the best half of football I've just about seen the Roosters ever play, honestly.
Really?
Well, you know, I mean, I'd have to think really hard, but I'd be struggling to find a better one in my memory. That was exceptional.
Leading up to the match, there were a number of issues. Let's talk about Billy Slater. Billy Slater went to the judiciary, as everyone knows, and got off.
Yep.
Last night, every time he touched the ball, he got booed, and then he also got booed when they went up to collect his. And I've got to say, I think it's poor form.
Yeah, well, I agree. You know, I don't.
Billy Slater did nothing at the judiciary that anybody else would have done as well.
Yeah.
He got charged. He went. He fought.
Yeah.
He got off.
Sure.
If you want to off though.
Well, I mean,
whether he should or shouldn't, it's irrelevant.
That aside,
it's not his fault he got off. He did. You know what? Latrell Mitchell goes to the judiciary, and if he got off, then he did the right thing. He shouldn't. You know.
Yeah.
It's
look. All right, it's a flawed system. Yeah. That's right. And you know what? I'm in two minds. I don't mind that he got booed during the game because hey, it's a grand final, and half the people there are going to be booing you no matter what. But the Roosters supporters have form on booing players when they're on the stadium the stage.
Well, you can't single out the Roosters supporters.
No, you really can't. I think every club does it.
That's ridiculous.
Look, excuse me. I just know that when my mighty team There was an unfortunate grand final where, what year was it when
2013.
2013.
I've forgotten that game, believe it or not, but I do know that the man of the match in that game was Cherry Evans, and he was head and shoulders above everyone else on the field.
I disagree.
Oh, well, of course you do, like all the other Roosters supporters, because you booed like nothing else when he went up on stage.
Why people booed.
That's right.
I didn't boo.
Oh, okay? Please.
But that's why people boo, because they just...
Yeah.
So it's typical of Roosters supporters. Don't
But
worry
you know
about
what? Yeah, and look, boot during the game is one thing, but
Yeah,
once the
look,
game's over, that's it.
Look, there's no doubt about the legacy that Billy Slater has left as a player. Nobody can argue with that.
That's right.
Nobody can argue the quality of the man player. Didn't like some of the things he did in defence. Didn't like the fact that he dived a few times. That sort of stuff. Well, he took a dive last night.
Oh, he did not. He got tripped. But anyway,
but anyway,
Have you watched the game again?
No, I haven't, but I saw it enough. He
Anyway,
tripped.
Look, I don't know that it's...
So this is why he got off at the judiciary, because people are blind. They're blinded by their man love.
He died. But anyway,
He tripped.
I mean,
Sally, it was a trip. It's all right.
So Sally, commiserations. You said yourself that you thought they were going to lose. I don't know where that would have come from, because I thought they had pretty good form leading up to last night. I just think that the Roosters were on. They strangled them in defence. Second half, I thought that Melbourne came out and were Melbourne. I think that they actually played better in the first 15.
But they still didn't look like they were going to score.
But in the first 15 minutes, they really tested us.
Yeah.
The thing was that the Roosters had found their rhythm in defence, and they were not letting anything through. And the only score they got was from an errant pass from Luke Keary, who had a superb game, and deserved his man of the match performance.
Okay, so let's talk about Cooper Cronk.
Yep.
Cooper Cronk gets injured against South, plays, I think in the first 20, 25 minutes or something.
Well, he's actually right on the half-time ballot.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
Thank
30
you.
seconds.
And so then he plays that half injured. All week they're trying to give him treatment to fix up the injury. Plays again last night. Didn't do anything. Barely took a ball. Didn't kick. Barely took a tackle.
He had no stats. It's not that he didn't do anything.
But no. But
he created no stats.
Let me make the point that it didn't matter, because everybody else covered for him anyway. They hit him in defence, which was the right thing to do.
Yeah, sure.
And I got to say, I think the strategy of Robinson to do that was brilliant.
Well, I mean, as Gus Gould said, he said there were 12. The Roosters had 12 men on the field and a coach.
That's right.
And that's not illegal.
No.
He was wearing a jersey. He was named in the 13, in the 17, and he mostly played with his mouth, leading them around the field.
But what he needed to do that was to make sure the other 12 were committed,
absolutely,
and had faith in each other to do what they had to do.
And it was easy, because the culture that Robinson set up at the moment, that wasn't a problem for that team. There wasn't a bad player in that team all night. I just thought, to single out a few other than Keary, who was superb. I watched the game today again, and you see more when you watch the game. Jared Waerea-Hargreaves, his first stint was absolutely incredible. Not just in running the ball, because that was pretty good, but his defensive reads and some of his defence was exceptional. Joey Manu has grown in the last half a dozen weeks into a fantastic centre, defensively as well as attacking. Latrell had another exceptional game in defence, particularly. We found out that Blake Ferguson played the last 30 minutes with a fracture, which I can only imagine is a hairline fracture in his fibula. But obviously in pain and some serious problems. Zane Tedovano tore his bicep muscle. So, they were playing a little bit busted, but just an all-round incredible performance, and it was just great to be there and watch it happen. And and I'm sorry, Sally, but we all like to beat the Storm, and so I think there were a lot of people backing the Roosters who normally wouldn't back the Roosters. I mean,
I wasn't one of them. It's okay.
Of course you would. But if we were playing,
you did.
I just didn't want Melbourne to win.
If we were playing St George, or dare I say the Rabbitohs or something, the Roosters wouldn't have got the support they got. But I actually think they got a lot more support because of that.
Without doubt. Because it was a line between New South Wales and Victoria. That's why.
So 21 points to 6, if anybody didn't know that. And the only score they got was off an intercept try from Addo Carr.
Okay, you're sitting there with 2 papers on your lap. Why are you doing that?
I read the papers today, and I thought this was actually quite corny but funny. You chook me all night long, which I thought was typical of no choke. Interestingly, when Cameron Smith tackled Cooper Cronk, they all both had a bit of a smile before they got up again. And the other one was even more corny. Cronk a doodle doo. It's just corny, but that's what you get.
He loves his headlines.
It's what you get in the premiers.
Yeah,
And
Tom does, yes.
I've got my premiers cup, which I've been waiting to drink out of for a long time. I'm getting a new
Cheers,
one.
Tom. Enjoy it.
Oh.
Okay, do we need to talk about the grand final any further?
Yes, I think we do.
Oh, we do. Hang
Okay,
on.
what do you need
Well,
to
no,
talk
no,
about?
no. I think it's well worth just discussing any other points throughout the game that
Was Kiri a worthy winner?
most certainly.
Well, no, like I still thought Latrell Mitchell was the standout. He shut down Will Chambers in defence, and who plays outside of Will. He shut down that side of the field, and he was exceptional. And yeah, he made meters every time he touched the ball. I was impressed.
Yeah.
Oh no, I agree because I think towards the game you and I spoke about that, and it was either Latrell Mitchell or Kiri, and I think one of the reasons I agree with Kiri is because I heard someone talk about it today that he actually played both roles.
Yeah.
He played half and 5'8".
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think it's good to see that a good South boy, South taught him everything he knows, goes to the Roosters and wins another grand final.
We fixed him.
They stole him from the Gold Coast.
He came
So I don't know. He came from the Gold Coast to South the Roosters.
He came to us and we
no,
fixed him.
the Gold Coast didn't want him.
Yeah, neither did you.
No, we did.
No, you didn't.
No, he just had a argument with young Russ,
And
the
you're
gladiator.
Right. And you're right. Trent Robertson, coaching master
Yeah,
class.
without
He's
doubt.
superb.
Any other points?
No, that'll do.
You don't want to talk about Munster?
You want to? Okay, sin
Probably
bin
should.
twice,
Yes.
In the about the 30th.
and I
minute.
got to tell you the second one. He should have been sent off.
I agree.
And what did he end up with? A fine.
I haven't heard.
He's
A
got a
fine.
fine. He got a fine.
Well, that's
fine.
a disgrace.
Now the second, now just so you all know, the first incident was just your regular standard slowing down play, really strongly attacking him.
Yeah.
He pushed the player
It was
down.
a second effort.
Yeah, second effort.
Yeah.
With the Roosters on the flow, so 10 in the bin, that was fair.
Yep.
Late
3 minutes to go.
Late in the second half, 3 minutes to go. For some reason, he decided after a tackle to kick a player in the head.
Well,
It wasn't hard.
No.
I'll give you that, but he actually thought it would be okay
To do that.
to do that.
on national television with 45 cameras looking at him.
I
He
just
gets up and just
and-
he it was like a slow motion laying your foot into the guy's head.
Yeah.
With not much pressure. There wasn't any force. It was simply saying, "I'm frustrated, and this is what you get."
And I agree with Steve. I think that was a send off.
Mm.
That wasn't a send off, and I don't know how it's
Okay.
only a
All right.
fine.
No, neither do I. So let me ask this question. We had earlier in the week. You had Billy Slater go to the judiciary for what was perceived for charged with a shoulder charge
Under the rules, yeah.
under the rules. Honestly, we all thought it was a fabulous tackle,
Yep.
and probably should never have been there because we all think that it's a contact sport.
Yep.
And you know what? It's going to happen.
Yep.
Okay. So here we have someone who then kicks someone in the head. Intentional. I'm sorry, it can't be an accidental.
Yep.
It's got to be intentional.
Yep.
Yeah.
Forget about the fact of how hard it was.
Yes.
The fact is the intent was to kick him in the head, and he gets a fine.
Yep.
The system's broken.
Along that line, it is. You
And
can't
he gets
do
to,
that.
and he gets to play for the Kangaroos.
And he gets to play for the
And I
Kangaroos.
just think that's a terrible look.
So we would have taken Billy Slater out of the game for a grand final.
For a tackle,
For a tackle, we all thought-
that 99% of people watching the game would say that was a great tackle.
Exactly.
But the rules are that it wasn't.
So let's kick someone in the head, give them a fine, and they can play for the Kangaroos. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I agree.
Something seriously wrong there.
I think the word Brian used is broken, and it's right. It is broken. If that's the deal, then there's a major problem with the game.
Yeah, they need to get us in to have a look at the system.
The
I'll do
other
it for free.
Yeah, so will I.
The other thing I was going to mention, I took a photo of the halftime stats of the grand final, and the Roosters, who are normally pretty ordinary, were near perfect in possession. They had 58% possession. They had 95% completion.
Yep.
So you So you starve the Storm with the ball, and when they have the ball, you let them do nothing with it.
Yep.
That was
what
the
happened.
essence of the first half, and that was why it was such a great performance.
Yeah. So now I'll be interested to see what players you lose. Everyone wins
Well,
the grand
that's right, of
final, lose
Well,
players.
somebody like Latrell Mitchell
they'll go
now-
to East.
So somebody like Latrell Mitchell will demand an upgrade.
Yeah,
obviously,
that's right.
They'll
that's
go
the
from
thing.
the Sydney Roosters to East.
And the other thing too is we bought 2 wingers this year for next year.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Brett Morris and Ryan Hall. I don't know why
Yeah.
we bought 2 of them, but they cannot get rid of Daniel Tupou. He's not the world's best player, but he is
Just
integral
like-
to that team.
He'd fit well in any other
He's
team. though.
integral to that team.
Yeah.
He's Roosters through and through. He took a pay cut the last time he got a contract
Yeah.
to stay with the club because he loves the club and the club loves him. And really, let those other 2 fight for their
All right.
position.
He's
should
going to be in
going.
reserve grade next year. That's how much the club love him. Your team's disgusting.
Well, see, that's exactly what I'm saying is Ryan Hall will be, Brett Morris will probably be in second
Yeah,
grade.
yeah. All right.
Reserve grade.
Look, congratulations to the Roosters. They won 2018
That's
Premiers.
recorded.
Let's move on to next year.
Oh, please.
Okay, before that game, let's very quickly talk about the Bulldogs and Redcliffe.
Yes.
What did you think of that? Do you like the concept to start with, where the grand final winners
Love
from
it.
state? So
I
do
love
I. I
the
think it's
concept
fabulous.
of it. Yes, I thought that was fantastic. I was on the Dolphins at the beginning of the game,
You were?
but the Dogs turned me around. They played great football.
They were very good.
They were expansive. They hit hard in defence. I was impressed. And I mean, and half the team, 3/4 of the teams are first grade material. So,
But,
or have played first
you
grade.
say that, but you know what? The first grade team came nearly last. Maybe a few more of these should be in first grade next year.
Yeah, well, that's the coach's choice. Well, Reece Martin was a definite starter in first grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot of that game. I was too busy shivering. It was cold out there.
Not nerves.
Well, probably a bit of nerves too, but it was cold.
Thank you.
It was real cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then before that, we had
Yeah.
the Roosters, the ladies'
game.
grand final
Yeah.
between the Roosters and the Broncos.
And a predictable result in the end because the Broncos went through undefeated. The Roosters got through simply because every other team won 1 game and we won by a lot.
Yeah.
So it wasn't an impressive way to get into the final. But the Roosters started as favourites for the comp because they had a good roster.
Yep.
But the thing about the Roosters is they never got to play a trial game, so they never actually got to gel in a competition.
Well, that's because you never had a club. Whereas South and Cronulla had a club and teams already going.
That's not up to me.
They would have got in.
That's
but
an
anyway,
NRL decision, not
It's
mine.
a
Yeah.
Roosters thing.
Yeah, whatever.
That's a third team.
It'll be part of their cap too.
All right, let's go on. Today, the announcement of the Kangaroo squad.
Yep.
Brian, Tom, would one of you like to read out the squad?
I would love to do that.
I thought you were ready for it.
No,
Here,
I wasn't
here it
ready
is.
for it.
Right there.
Okay. It's probably got better names there. Today, we'll talk about when we get to that.
Okay,
yeah. So, Kangaroo squad, read out in no particular order. Regan Campbell-Gillard. I suppose in alphabetical order. Regan Campbell-Gillard from the Panthers. Daly Cherry-Evans, Seagulls. Damien Cook from the Rabbitohs. Boyd Cordner from the Roosters. Tyson Frizzell from the Dragons. Valentine Holmes from the Sharks. Ben Hunt from the Dragons. Greg Inglis has been named as captain of the Rabbitohs. Felice Kafusi from the Storm. David Clemmer from the Bulldogs. Josh Maguire from the Broncos. Jordan McLean from the Cowboys. Latrell Mitchell from the Roosters. Cameron Munster from the Storm. Tyrone Peachy from the Panthers. James Tedesco from the Roosters. Jake Trebojevic from the Seagulls. Tom also from the Seagulls. And Aaron Woods from the Sharks.
Wow.
4 debutants.
Yeah.
Cook,
And
Mitchell, Peachy, and
Tedesco.
That is a very interesting. Sorry, I didn't see this earlier today. That is very interesting.
Why? Like it, hate it.
I'm confused.
Well, but do you like it? We know about that.
Well,
Do
no.
you like it?
I'll tell you why I'm confused.
Okay.
Parramatta team finished last.
Yep.
No rep players there.
Yep.
My team finished second last. We've got 3 players in that team.
Yeah, but they're 3 players who have proven themselves before. I mean, they are.
But that to me that makes no sense. The Roosters. Oh my God. What you've got Boyd Cordner and
Latrell
Mitchell and James Tedesco. 3.
Three.
Yeah.
Equal with the team that finished second last. The team that finished second is the Storm. one.
Kafusi.
Two
Yeah,
players.
but, okay.
It just
But stop. I mean, you got to also understand there's a changing of the guard here.
Yeah.
There's a generational change.
Well,
No Billy Slater, no Cameron Smith,
Yep.
no Cooper Cronk. There's
No,
three
Jonathan
from Melbourne.
Thurston.
That's right. There's three from Melbourne that
well,
would have
two
got
from
him.
Melbourne and one from the Roosters.
Yeah.
Well, okay, for this year. But normally there'd be Melbourne. So
So
no Jonathan Thurston. So now you're looking at those players who were fill-ins before coming into the team.
well, you know what? It just makes my club's year even more disappointing.
Why?
You
They
should be
didn't
happy because you've got
about
three
that.
players in the squad.
We finished second last, and we've got 3 players in the squad.
Well, because
Plus we'll have 2 in the Tongan team, 1 in the New Zealand team.
Well, you sucked during the season. You just had a few good players.
I mean, I've got to say there's a couple there that I question.
Yep.
Jordan McLean.
Yeah, he only played a few games.
Yeah, I'm just not sure
It's
about
because he was
him.
an incumbent.
Well, that's right.
Aaron Woods.
Aaron Woods, I'm not sure
I
about.
think he had a better season than he's had for a while, but was that a good season all in all? I don't know.
I do agree with Regan Campbell-Gillard. I think he deserves his spot.
Yeah, he was off during points of this season. If he's a starting prop for the national team, he needs to do more than he did.
Yeah.
at
Oh,
club
without
level.
doubt.
I wouldn't have
Without
picked him. I wouldn't have picked Regan Campbell.
Tyrone Peachy,
Yeah, he's a good utility. I'm not sure who else you would have picked in his place.
but as a utility, not as a start.
But but as a utility, but he can start in the centres, he can start at fullback, he can start at 5'8", and he can start in the back row, and we wouldn't think twice about that.
Yeah. Cameron Munster, I think we all agree, should be there, shouldn't be there because he should have been charged. But if he
Will be
wasn't,
there.
And
If
disappointed Luke Keary wasn't on an extended. I think.
yeah, look, I actually think put Kieran in place of Munster. To be honest with you.
I thought that. Well, based on grand final form, but again, Meninga's a Queenslander, and while I think he's been generally fairly balanced,
That's a
Queenslanders
Queensland
10.
team.
Well, this is a New
Queenslanders
South
tend to
Wales
go for
team.
Queenslanders.
Okay.
This is a New South Wales team. This is
Oh,
predominantly
no.
New South Wales. Campbell Gillard, Damien Cook, Boyd Cordner, Frizzell, Holmes.
Queenslander, mate.
Queenslander. Holmes is Queenslander.
Oh yeah, that's right, he is too. Clemmer, Mitchell, Peachy, Tedesco, Trebojevic, Aaron Woods. Honestly, I think it's predominantly.
Well, that is a changing of the guard.
It is.
Yeah.
I don't think that, and no offence, Steve, I don't think that your man should have been captain either.
Inglis. Why?
Yeah.
Who would you put in?
Well, I'm afraid, and
Don't be afraid. Just tell me.
I hate to say this, but I'm afraid because of Tom. I would have gone Boyd Cordner.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He was he was vice captain, led his state to state of origin victory, led his team
Premiership
to
winning
a
coach,
premiership.
captain.
Yeah. No offence, and I'm not going to disagree that Greg Inglis should be in the team, but as far as future planning goes,
Well,
I would
how
have
old's
Cordner.
Inglis? He's over 30.
31, I think. Yeah.
And Cordner's probably late 20s, mid to late 20s. I think.
I think that's
He's
just
only about 24, 25. So I think that's the only reason. As in they're giving Inglis his go,
No.
and Cordner will follow.
I'm happy with
I
Inglis.
agree too.
Oh well, of course you are. And I'm biased too because I
but
think
I'm not
Cordner-
being biased. I'm not being
You're
biased.
biased. You're biased.
Exactly.
I'm unbiased in this position.
Yeah, but you're just wrong.
See, I would have had Jake as captain because the bloke will be fantastic
All right.
one day.
Okay, let's go off that. Emerging Nations. You went to the Emerging Nations.
We
We did. We went to the Emerging Nation, Rugby League Emerging
Hang
Nation.
on, they're not going to be able to see that. Move
Emerging nations.
it. That'll do. Oh, stop.
hang
No,
on.
down. That'll do. Anyway.
In Windsor, New South Wales, which is close to our location, our current location.
Our current location.
Yes.
Yes, where we watched a number of games. We watched.
So we're not doing this from the Foxtel studios in. Okay, all right.
No.
We're doing it from a private bunker.
Our own bunker.
We watched Malta versus the Philippines.
Yes.
Just
Just names that roll off your lips when
roll
you
off
think
their
of
tongue.
rugby league. Yes.
The Solomon Islands versus Turkey.
Okay, you're going to tell me who won because I wasn't there.
Malta, Philippines. Malta
Smash the Philippines.
smashed the Philippines.
Score?
Yeah.
It was a long time
44
ago.
to 10 or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a big score. The
Solomon
Solomon Islands versus Turkey.
Turkey won convincingly.
Convincing. Well, let me just tell you, the ref kept them in that game.
Kept Solomon Islands in there.
Yeah.
The problem was the Turkey had a really good team, really solid team. Solomon Islands was just one out. There was no creativity, there was no passing of the ball. And they had big boppers, they just kept thinking they were going to barge over the line.
Yeah.
They scored a couple of late tries, but really the Turkish team were good. There was one guy, the lock, looked a little bit like Bryce Cartwright. He had the footwork and everything. He was a star.
Actually, yeah, and they had Turkey had two really good players in that team.
Yeah.
Not that I could even begin to pronounce their names. And Hungary played Greece.
Yeah, that was as it was starting to get dark, and there were a lot of Greek supporters around us, and we were sort of on the Greek side trying to get. Otherwise, we would have been a riot. Would have got.
Having food stands, you got some souvlaki, all that sort of stuff.
I would have loved that. That would have been.
And the poor commentator, he had to read out team names before each game.
Can I just?
Man, it was a shocker.
No, you can't,
And
because I know you can't.
And he struggled. He really
did.
And we applauded him at the end for having a go.
Can you, Tom, just give us a couple of those Solomon Island names?
If I could read them. Carwin Tengimawana, Wilson Ifanoa, Jefferson Scott Syria, he was easy.
Yeah.
Stephen Momoa, Jimmy Wisna Mibata. You'd have to sit there and practice like a race call, honestly. You really would.
It was funny.
Yeah, Ben Wong, that was an easy one.
Ben Wong.
Hong Kong,
yeah.
That's another team that will be playing.
It was just a
So this was round one, wasn't it?
So
And
what's the point of the emerging nations? To get into the World Cup? Or?
well, they had their own World Cup.
Oh, okay, all right.
And that's probably a qualifier to get into the proper World Cup.
So Lebanon, for example, a few years ago won the emerging nations, and they played in the World Cup last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is a stepping stone.
Yeah.
But you know, as I just allowed Tom to show, there's not a lot of NRL talent players there.
Yeah.
So for example, for Turkey, Aiden Caesar has a Turkish background, so he's eligible to play. He's in their squad but didn't play. And I think that would have been sensational.
We spoke to a Greek guy who said that he's obviously works with the Greek Rugby League. He's obviously got some influence there, and he said that we brought a few players over from Greece to play because they actually have a domestic competition in Greece.
Okay, wow.
That's serious. So it's not just this is Greece and it's all Aussie players playing for Greece, like it does in the World Cup. You know, when we have James Tedesco playing for Italy.
Yeah.
These were, there were a few seriously like Greek domestic people who were playing.
Yeah.
Look, I think it's really good for the competition. I spoke to another guy who was filming, and he said that the problem is that the NRL don't even know this exists, and while it's not the NRL's responsibility, it's the RLIF. There's no coverage of this. There's no promoting of this.
Even to the point. Tell me about the lighting at Windsor.
Yeah, so
the lighting
basically they have
training.
They have training lights, which means that either end of the ground is fairly well lit. The middle was dark.
Yeah.
And so in the last 30 minutes they played, and it was dark outside with limited lighting, and that made for a very difficult ball play. So that was disappointing. But look, I think it was entertaining, and it was great to see people's cultures come.
Yep.
All of a sudden you got all these Turkish people, surrounding you, and Hungarian people that we don't see hardly ever in their colours, and they've got the ribbons and stuff, and Islander people, and they're shouting for their team. It's like when you see the Tonga Samoa test, It was really terrific,
like that,
just on a much smaller scale. But this is how the game's going to grow.
And look, I mean, for example, Africa United, players from Ivory Coast, South Sudan, Egypt, Cameroon, Congo, Mauritius, more Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Liberia, Uganda, Ghana, they're fair income from those countries.
And it's because
but are
these
we saying
want to play.
Are you saying that there are competitions in all those countries?
Yeah.
Or no.
Yeah. See, that's just it. I did a little bit of research, so I knew that there's a Greek comp, there's a Hungary comp, there's a comp in Turkey, Lebanon. Like these guys play.
Well,
so
that's good.
Bring it.
It's good for the game. Yeah,
for sure.
It's great. It does need to be promoted more, and it does need to be pushed more.
Well, I mean, if we can't get Country Rugby League to be promoted and get juniors, what hope's the international game got?
Exactly.
But wouldn't you love to see the Latin Heat versus Australia?
The Latin Heat. It's a beauty.
That's right.
Colombia, Chile, Argentina. Yeah, fantastic.
Okay, so we're pretty much at the end of the show.
So what do we think about this year, this season, all in all? I mean, take away the fact that you're disappointed your team didn't get to the final.
I think.
How do you think the season went in all?
I think South's probably overachieved. I think they did extremely well. The season, I thought it was a great competition. 2 points separating first to eighth.
Yeah, that was really good.
Even to the last few weeks where you had a chance of the Tigers or Newcastle somehow getting into the eight.
And the bottom six were in this competition as well, to sort of see who would get the wooden spoon.
To avoid the wooden spoon.
Yeah,
that's right.
so that was interesting competition. It wasn't interesting to be down there, but there was a lot of twists and turns in the competition. Yep. And I think for my team, really what happened was we came in with immense pressure because, if we don't win the premiership, then there'll be questions asked.
That's right.
Thankfully we did, but it was just a constant improvement and gradual improvement. And look, we saved our best for last. On the day that mattered, we brought out our best performance.
No doubt.
That was good.
Brian?
Yeah.
I can't separate where my team finished for the comp. Sorry.
Season in general?
Was terrible.
Well, yeah, and that's understandable. It's going to be terrible if your team's not performing. Yeah.
Oh, look, for me personally, I think the season was summed up by the NRL. Having the ref blow penalties, tell them to not blow penalties. Having the ref blow penalties, tell them to not blow penalties.
Yeah.
Players getting charged for stupid things like legitimate try stopping tackles, and then not charged for kicks. It was just a year of inconsistent. If you are looking at this from the outside of the NRL and you see how the management is running things, you go, is this a professional sport? Because it looks Mickey Mouse. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we need the administration and the people who run the game to be as professional as those clubs that are participating.
But that's not going to stop these sort of issues. I guess what we're looking at is how they deal with those sort of issues.
But they don't.
As leadership. No, that's right.
They sweep them under the carpet.
You still have this issue come up. Let's see what the NRL now come out and do about shoulder charges.
Absolutely.
About kicks to the head, about this sort of stuff. If they just leave it now and walk away, then we have no leadership.
I still ask myself the question, what's Todd Greenberg's role and what's the Commission's role? I cease to understand that.
Well, the Commission was supposed to be the saviour of the game, and they were supposed to, but
so they look after the finances alone and nothing. Yeah. Because we've got a match review committee, we've got a rules committee. So I thought that would be the ARLC. That would be their job. They get football heads in there and they discuss rules and they talk to clubs. But that doesn't seem to happen. So I'm very confused as to the whole hierarchy of the government. Yeah. And I've said this a long time ago. I think Todd Greenberg is the wrong man to be in charge. But that isn't going to change in the short term.
No.
Neither here nor there. There's a lot of things that change as well. But
anyway, okay.
Anyway, so I found it very hard to pull the season apart from where your club finishes when you're in the race for the spoon and you're legitimately one of the contenders.
And your team had some really good performances and some really ordinary performances, often within the same game.
Yeah, but we can't do a season review.
No. I know.
Anyway, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, well that draws us to a close. This is the final show for this year for NRL from the Sidelines.
Yep. And if anybody's out there watching, if you need us to
what do you mean if?
All those people, those thousands that are out there watching.
Thousands of people watching.
If you want us to change something, add something in, mix it up, let us know because we're just doing this. We're just doing this because we love footy.
Yeah, that's right.
And so if you're out there and you love footy as well and you want to, I don't know.
Tell us a segment.
Yeah.
You want a segment? You want us to change?
Throw something at us.
You want to call in and berate us over the phone?
No, I'm not having Sally call in and berate anybody.
She's obviously a lovely person. Why are you saying that?
Well, I'm scared we might get Brad in one day and then she'd call in for sure.
But we do want to thank you all for watching, for Brad, for Sally, for Janelle,
particularly
Barry,
regular contributors. Yes,
I'm trying to think of other names and I can't. But anyway, look, thank you all for watching it. We have really enjoyed it this year. We hope you have too, and I'm hoping we do it again next year.
So when can we expect to be back? So that's probably good for people to know.
Oh, right now, I don't know.
Jeez,
So is it
come
the
on.
week before the season
Mate,
starts?
this has been
or-
such a hard year that we're all going on a 5-month holiday. We're
I
going to
can't
take
wait- I
our
can't
bucket
wait.
loads of money we've been paid to do this show and take a
Yeah, I
5-month
wanted to
holiday.
negotiate that with I want another zero to my.
Yeah, you
my
won't.
salary.
You won't get another zero on it. In fact, you might start paying us next year.
Is that right?
Well, you won the comp. It's,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. I can't wait to get it back for the defence.
All right.
Good. That's
Anyway,
it.
we have 5 months of no football. Tom, and you will have 5 months of not having this. You're lucky.
No.
Hey, won the comp.
Yeah,
Be
yeah,
happy.
yeah. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's your 15 minutes of fame. It's over. It's
Fantastic.
done.
It's been like how many minutes? 40 minutes of fame. Let it go.
That's right. And you're still wearing the hat.
Sour grapes.
Oh, you bet. All right, thank you all for watching. We'll do it all again next year.
Yeah.
And look, probably, I don't know, leading up to the comp, we'll put something on Facebook. Keep looking at our Facebook page. I'm sure we'll try and keep up with any other internationals coming up and whatever's happening throughout the game. And we'll do it all again next year. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
See ya.
So, yeah.